And second of all, Chief of Police Mike Clark spent most of the day in the hospital today with his own illness, and he is not going to be here tonight. He asked for your indulgence and patience in allowing him a chance to get back. I think he intends to be back tomorrow, although that may be a little optimistic. So those were two things I wanted to bring you up to speed on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Chris's budget presented to us, her department budget. I'd open the floor for questions that anyone might have for her.
Well, I didn't realize we were doing the budget tonight. I don't have my budget book with me. I'm looking to see if I have it in here, but I don't see it. I thought we were just considering a couple.
Councilman Bishop.
You can't pull it up electronically. Reedy won't give it to you electronically.
I thought I may have put it in there, but I actually didn't know where to go.
I didn't either.
You can't what?
Huh? You can't look at it electronically. Reedy won't give it to us electronically.
I scanned it.
Might be a violation of law.
You got yours, Jim?
Who needs a copy?
I do.
1, 2, 3.
Do you have your email, Bob? He emailed it on
I went through
7/28.
all my stuff here, and I don't have it marked here.
Proposed budget.
6?
Yes. Page 6.
That's all right.
No, Gary has an electronic copy. I don't have
It was emailed on 7/28.
it. Not to me.
PDF.
Not to me.
Well, let me see.
So do I, somewhere.
Chuck it down right there.
Got the CIP program.
Never got it.
Circuit breaker.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, that makes me
Does anyone that already have a copy have any questions?
You don't have anything budgeted for mowing.
We'll move to another fund.
15,000. It says full-time mowers, but that's not really accurately coded.
My wife's got she's got a Kindle Fire.
6th thing down.
She's got a Raider computer, she's got a laptop computer.
Oh, I see it. I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah,
I can't touch it unless I ask.
you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to upgrade.
Yeah, I know.
So she's on, are you saying page 5 you're on, Teresa?
6.
6.
6. Okay. I had office equipment, 123%, $3,350. What's that for? It's the bottom of page 6.
Oh, new chairs, 6 new matching chairs, 3 new office chairs, and possibly a desk if there's enough.
Is that for your office or?
Upstairs,
I thought you just got new stuff.
downstairs, not upstairs.
Oh, you mean up in the, like
Community
George's
development
office?
room, yeah. Building commissioner, code enforcement assistant.
So those are for chairs?
Yes, 9 chairs and possibly a desk.
$372 a chair? What are they, lazy boys?
Normally, we have 1,500 in that budget for the year, so it's the difference between that.
But,
Well, if you
adding
get
2,000.
that, that'll be
oh, okay,
55.
yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't take that out, so,
Well, State House chairs were $760 a piece.
yeah. I know it. And just think what they'd be at the federal government.
No kidding.
3 times that.
But this is Logansport.
Right.
We have to balance ours.
Chairs aren't cheap.
Well, she's getting 9 chairs for 2,000.
Are these chairs in really bad shape, are they?
They're extremely old, yeah.
What's the software, Chris?
It is called iWorks, and the planning and zoning has it at their office in the county. It would allow us to all work together. It's a permit management software. It would be for Bill and George to use. They can use that out in the field rather than waiting to do everything back at the office. They come in and train us, do the whole thing.
What, they have to get iPads or something too?
We already have those.
I saw the iWorks. I figure that's... How's come the promotion of business, you spent $83 and it's $2,000 bucks?
This was the first year we've ever done it, and we just
What is
requested
promotion
that
of business?
anything that any of us go to, state of the city, county, any kind of events like that, membership for Kiwanis, that type of thing.
Oh yeah, I thought that had another line for that. Meetings, registration,
Yeah.
you have a line for that. $1,500 for that too. Travel expense, $800.
Where are you at?
Yeah, where are you seeing that?
I'm
That's
on,
in the
oh, that's
planning-
the plan commissioner.
that's the planning
That's the
commission.
next page.
Say,
Yeah, thanks.
I got
don't
got
be-
ahead of us there.
Don't be.
Okay, your total's at the bottom here, okay. That's Aaron's.
Looks like overall you're reducing it by 1%. At the bottom line. So you balanced it out.
That can be deceiving though, Gary, because I think,
Yeah, I'm deceitful.
no.
Yeah, I'm deceitful.
Not by you, but I think, well, such as the mowing equipment, wasn't that moved to a different place?
It's the 6th item down.
Yeah. So, see, that's been taken off, but hasn't that been put in somewhere else? The mowing?
It's the 6th item down, that's right, exactly where it's at.
It's in there.
Full-time mowers as opposed to mowing.
Oh, okay.
And there's nothing in mowing.
Where's mowing? Mowing, there it is.
Yeah.
That's mowing. That's zeroed out.
Mowing is zeroed.
That's been that way for a couple of years so far. How come we don't remove that line? Don't need it anymore?
I don't know why they don't.
It used to be under contractual, and we don't contract it out anymore, we use employees.
So where's the mowing at? I don't see that.
Right. Right here.
Oh, okay.
1% decrease.
All right. Yeah. The full-time threw me off.
Chris, is this budget exactly how you submitted it to Reedy?
I believe so. Yes,
Okay. Thank you. I'm okay with it, Chris.
thank you.
I don't have a problem with it either.
I don't either, but I would like for everyone to have a copy to look at.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
What I see.
Did you get a car?
Yes.
She got the fire chief's car.
That means she can run light sirens when she goes to Florence.
No, they took him out.
Darn. That's no fun.
I know.
Well, Gary can spend the only for you.
Each one put us on top. Any more from Ms. Beasley? Ms. Beasley? Hear from her?
Tomorrow we're gonna talk. Yeah.
Did you hear that, Joe?
Yeah.
We're waiting on the trip. We'll go to the next thing, or are we waiting on the mayor?
I think she's waiting.
Well, really just, who doesn't have
Me
their
and
foot?
Joe.
If you're,
I'm good with it.
You're good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay,
From what I read.
okay.
Thank you.
these guys are pretty easy.
Aaron, we can slide you in here real quick.
I think my budget
you,
I
Chris.
submitted still had the vehicle, because at that time we didn't have a vehicle for 12,000. But I think then I talked to the mayor, and during that time we had taken it out because we did receive our vehicle this year. So we have that, and the only other change from our normal budget that we kind of budget for every year is $75,000 for a new ordinance rewrite. There's some options there that we can do. We could do half one year, half another year, and start it at the end of the year. We can push it out a couple of years. Is it not on there?
Can you get it all done in 1 year?
You can. You'd have to probably start pretty early, and you'd just encumber it if it didn't. But it's also an election year, and I understand that as well. But it hasn't been changed since '86, and our comprehensive plan was done in 2009. We have a lot of standards that don't meet our comprehensive plan because staff is 3 jurisdictions, and we do try to go through, but piecemealing it, sometimes you miss things other places that are important, and they don't come up until someone comes in your office. So re-looking at the whole ordinance, we feel is a good idea to make sure we're being cohesive in all of our efforts. We just have never put it in our budget before, so I thought, let's try, and if we push it out, we push it out, but it's something that really needs to be looked into and doing. And
Is that something you hire out to do?
Yes, because it's a total rewrite. Obviously, our department does the, little piecemeal things, but a total rewrite, they'll look at the whole entire ordinance. And then we could possibly cut it back some, saying we only want to look at these specific portions of the ordinance that they might have more information on, like lighting standards with LEDs and those type of things, which we're not really knowledgeable about. I mean, we're doing research about it, but they might know more as hiring a consultant to do that, those type of items. So you can also go that route. When I talked to a consulting firm, they said 75 to 100 was usually a rewrite, so I put 75 down. Obviously, we could start talking to someone and back it up to just say these specific areas, but our uses are even out of date. We don't have some uses that possibly should be in there, and one of them was senior housing that we added last year. So things like that would come up, and these consultants do this, everywhere, and so they'll have more of the newer type of technologies that are coming out and standards that we should have in place for those type of items and those type of things.
I noticed that there's 75,000 in contracted services
Yes.
also.
That is the 75.
Well, there's two places. It's on here, two places. It's 75,000 in contracted services and 75,000 under the
Zoning ordinance,
zoning ordinance.
new.
Okay, it didn't get erased because I talked to somebody in the clerk's office, the clerk treasurer's office. I can't remember. Maybe
Okay, so the
maybe
contracted-
Susan, and they told me it had to be under contractual services and not under just zoning ordinance line.
Is that the one
You
that
know
was
that.
moved from the CIP? Was that moved from CIP? I
Yeah,
can't
that
tell,
was
the
under the
the
CIP.
color has failed on my.
The
printing.
CIP would probably say zoning ordinance, and my budget says contractual services because that's the line item I had to put it under.
But it's both places. Where does it need to be?
The CIP is to plan out, so it's not really my budget. Now my budget, I submitted 75. I didn't submit on my budget twice, I shouldn't have.
Okay, it's showing up two places on your budget.
Okay, it should only be one, it should be under contractual services.
Okay, so we remove the 75,000.
I don't know why that, on this
Under-
contractual services, they don't have a full number on there.
Zoning ordinance.
Oh, that's a good question, too. I didn't see that.
No, probably because they just don't.
So, if this is done in contractual services, then the mayor has to do that, correct?
No, it's in her budget. She can have
Yeah,
contracted
when
services
I
in her
first
budget.
submitted it,
Can she sign?
I put it under zoning ordinance, and then I got a call from the clerk treasurer's office saying there's not a line item for zoning ordinances. So they said to put it under contractual services. So I just put it under contractual services without resubmitting a whole new budget.
Okay.
So that might be why you have to.
So we take the blue line out and
Yes,
it's
yes.
correct.
included, included in contractual services.
Now, I got a little question on that. Can you do contractual services? You can sign a contract for this?
It would come to, I
Or does
think,
that
the
go through the
city
Board of Works?
council to actually sign the contract. I don't know, I've not done a contract through the city before, but like in the county, we go through the commissioners to actually sign the contract.
Same way here.
But it's in the budget so that
In
I
this-
can say, I can pay them out of my budget, I just need you to sign it and be okay with
And
these
here in the
individuals.
city does it, the mayor signs contracts,
Okay.
the Board of Works.
Okay, so the Board of Works signs the
But it can
contract.
be paid out of here.
It would be
Right.
paid out there, right? I
Yeah,
get
I
it.
would still have to get approval through them,
But the
and they would
mayor
have to
does that.
sign.
Yeah.
It's not the planning department hiring them, it's still the city hiring them.
Okay. Just curious. Okay, so there's 75 gone. Look how much progress you've made already.
Now
Legal
that-
services, who do you use for that?
Legal services are.
I noticed that you haven't used any.
Right, those are mostly when we go to court. Right now, the court cases we've been in have been paid through our insurance.
Okay.
So,
So in
but
case you
sometimes
had-
if we took someone, or we were actually sued versus actually taking someone, that's what that line item is
You don't
there
use
for.
our city attorney for that?
We do, but for most, in the past, we haven't used them in a while, but in the past, it would be an additional because they're taking forward a case for planning department.
Okay.
Can't imagine $600 would get you very far.
No.
Yeah, I just wondered if that's something the city attorney would do.
Taking that out, taking that 75,000 out because of the duplication reduces her budget to $137,132 total.
Say that again, Teresa, please.
137,132.
I guess she's worth
We
it.
removed the line, the blue line in the budget under the capital outlay because it's included in other services.
That makes us even better then, doesn't it? That's 75,000.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
Nope.
Erin? Okay,
Okay.
thanks, Erin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Carol Sue.
Yeah, I'm done, I'm right up here.
What page
I'm
is she on?
I'm on page 2. I'd like to make a few corrections. if you'll look at the second line, data processing, they have 2. That number is 3. That total amount for the advertised for the budget estimate is for 3 people. And that's incorrect. That 2 should be out of there.
Wait a minute. Where are you?
The
The
second
second
line?
line,
The 2 should be a 3.
yes.
Data processing.
Mhm. If you look at line 121, my chief deputy, that pay has been reduced to $31,500.
For 15?
Yes.
And so that you have a new hire coming in on that, right, Carol Sue?
That's right. That new hire will go into that second line.
And part of this reduction is because the chief deputy is no longer doing the IT services.
That's right.
So because we've hired that out now,
Yes. Well, Rowing's always been in charge of that.
right? So I wanted to point that out. That's seems to be the reasoning. Makes good sense. So that's good. There's office supplies.
Under office upkeep on 436.023, we'd like to get the carpets cleaned. And to some just little general, updates to the office.
What number was that, Carol Sue? Okay. No.
436.023.
I see it now, yeah. $5,000.
Yeah.
Up from 3.
That's 67. So you're thinking this is for cleaning carpet?
Cleaning carpets and doing a little additional painting, different things like that in the office.
Miscellaneous stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not, it's not going to be a big ticket thing, whatever it is.
What do you
We'd
use?
really like to have new carpet, but
The 14 budget was 3,000, so it's a $2,000 increase.
it's $2,000. We want to clean the carpets and
What do you use contracted services monies for?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What do you use contracted services money for?
Phil, on that, is that where we put in eGov? Yeah, we contract with eGov and Rowing's not in that number, but we.
Is that where we're paying for the collection of fees? Where are we paying for that from?
I think that's out of that line. I'm not going to tell you that for sure.
You know, the collection of the fees that we take the
Yes.
small claims for?
Yeah. Down below then, for the machinery.
Carry your office while you're going.
That's just our
I could use
computer
one with the right
hardware.
page numbers. Mine
And then I
starts
asked
with
for
2 here.
$3,000
And
for
this
the
one is
shelving.
1. Yeah, so this is
We
a
have
version
to
on that one.
destroy our records. And so that hasn't been done since probably 1964. And we'd just like to have file cabinets. Right now, we've got them downstairs in the basement in boxes, which is probably not a good thing for the things you have to keep.
You're going to destroy them?
No, the ones downstairs we have to keep. And so we have to put those in. They've been removed from the office or other offices, and we have to keep so much of that.
So did we find out contractual services was for eGov,
Yes,
and that's what that costs, $7,500?
yep, uh-huh.
And that's the same question I have for you. Does that, do you do that contract or does the mayor do it?
I'm sorry, I didn't,
Do you do that contract, or that goes through the Board of Works, the mayor also? Okay.
yeah, it's contracted.
Paid out of her
even-
budget.
yeah.
The, could you explain what the election expenses are that you have?
Our city election.
Can you tell me where that's at?
Last line.
Last line, just before other services.
Election expenses for next year's municipal election.
Oh, yeah, the city's, yeah.
Right.
We'll be responsible for that in the election.
It was 44,000 for the last election, I believe.
48.
Yeah, I think it was 44.
Around 44,000.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we have to pay that.
due to normal increases.
Yeah, and really it was overlooked in the 2011, 2012 budget.
Right,
And
because
so we had to.
we had to
appropriate it.
appropriate it.
What's the municipal code, Carol Sue?
Municipal code is what we put out on SharePoint. All the ordinances and resolutions go out on SharePoint.
Page 2.
So you're paying $3,200 for SharePoint?
Yeah,
That's-
but you upgrade that. You may do it every other year or every year. And we chose to do it every other year. So we have SharePoint, but when they put them out on the web, then they charge us X amount of dollars
That's for the
to
website.
upgrade that particular ordinance and resolutions.
You're in clerk treasurer's budget now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mayor's
Page
budget was fine, wasn't it?
No.
No
We
review?
haven't gotten that.
No review?
Yeah, we took care of it.
Does anyone have any other questions for Carol Sue?
$10,000 office furniture. That's for, was that for shelves?
No, shelving's is 3. Shelving is 3.
Shelving is just $3,000.
What's the office furnishings then?
Office
10,000.
furnishings, we'd like to have some new desks.
New desks?
Yes.
What's wrong with the old ones?
Are they younger than 50 years?
I think so.
Then you don't need new ones.
$10,000 for desks is a lot of money. How many, that's, for how many desks? 5?
Have you bought office furniture lately?
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Honestly,
Yeah.
we bought new desks the year before last at work, and to find something that is short of a Walmart special that's gonna last 6 months,
No.
it's crazy expensive.
Assemble your own.
Yeah, are you talking about just a desk or a cubicle kind of thing?
Probably in the one office, it would be a cubicle thing for the chief deputy, and then the rest would be just better desks than what we have now.
All right.
Everybody okay with that? 10,000 in desks?
Seems like an awful lot to me, 10 grand. But I haven't seen your desks, so
I haven't either.
I don't know. My last new desk I got donated from the county in my classroom, so.
If somebody wants to propose a cut, you're welcome to do so.
Anybody?
Next.
Okay.
Does anybody want me to order some food?
Yeah, go ahead, board wall.
I will, besides Strong,
Any of the elected officials want me to order food?
Yeah, go ahead, it's getting late.
Okay. Where you getting it from? Boardwalk?
Boardwalk,
Yeah, that's good.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Doesn't matter.
let's do Dan's and then we'll break. We'll do a little.
Let me order it while you
Okay.
do that.
Teresa, do you think we could do IT because rowing,
Yeah.
or Phil's here for rowing? It's the next one.
Dan's
Page
always
3.
last.
Sure.
On the rowing managed services, we misfigured that. That should only be,
What page we on, Carol Sue?
Page 3.
Page 3. That number should, what did we figure?
43.6.
43.6,
I
just
think-
like it was.
Well, I think there was anticipated, I think they budgeted in for an increase, but I don't know of any increase that'll be on that.
Then if you go on down to the, you'll see the Mondo pad here. And now that will disappear from this budget because you're already gonna pay it for it this year.
Yeah, 13,000 of it has already been ordered, so.
So that, what, that 20,000 comes out, or what?
Yeah, that's already been ordered.
Unless you,
Unless you decide to do,
well, one option that was talked about was replacing the rainy day fund with this money. So
Yeah.
perhaps, instead of just eliminating this, you move it to rainy day to replenish that fund.
I would say that by the time we get done cutting here, I mean, at some point, we need to figure out how much we're gonna put in the rainy day for the 2015 budget. And so that's where it would go.
Just,
So you're proposing to drop the 20,000 from here and look at including it in the rainy day? Is what you're proposing?
It sounds to me like we definitely need to scratch it.
Yes, we definitely need to scratch it from here.
Okay, scratch.
Well, the way I look at it is, we can put up to 10% of our certified budget into the rainy day fund, of what surplus that we have, if there's a surplus. So 10% of the certified budget, say if that's 8 million, 9 million, I think we're looking at doing about 850,000 for last year's. So whatever we have surplus, whatever we save here, up to about that amount can go to the rainy day fund, and that's where I would suggest it goes.
am I wrong in assuming if we could cut our budget, we could lower our tax levy and thus save the taxpayers money?
Yeah, and that's actually what we tried to do, what we actually did do 2 years ago, the 12 budget. And what the problem is, though, what we found, that when we take a smaller piece of that pie, we take a little piece of it, well, the other people, the other taxing entities take what we leave behind, and so the taxpayers don't really see that savings.
Okay, so we
So if
take
we
the high
take-
road and do the correct thing and cut a budget.
So if we take our full piece of the pie, then, in my view, the way we give it back to the taxpayer, if we don't take it, somebody else does, and then the taxpayer doesn't get it. But if we take our full piece, then that was my view on the trash tax. We gave that directly back to the taxpayer. And I suggest that we continue doing it that way, because we can actually give it directly back to the taxpayer.
What other taxing entities are you referring to, Bob?
That would be the county, for one. It's the biggest one. You got, so, say in the 2012 budget, we left $3.5 million on the table. I think about $1.5 million of that the county picked up. So by us picking it up, it went from not just 3.5, but it went to $5 million difference.
Well, I just, I think it's important to recognize of the 2020 taxing entities that are out there, we're in the top 1%. Logansport is. We're 21 out of 2020 taxable entities. Our city is. So we're paying, and then all we're doing is keeping it up there. I just think we need to look at cutting it, and if
Well,
other people are unethical, that's not our issue.
And that was my point too, Chuck. I thought when we left $3.5 million on the table, I thought we did a great thing.
But it
But
didn't
found
work.
out that we
Doesn't work
didn't.
that way.
It didn't go to our taxpayers.
Well, and that's not our fault. That's just ethics.
Well, I don't know about
I mean,
ethics, but
well, it is. I mean, ethically, if
It's-
everyone's looking
it's
at
according to the
conserving
law.
tax money,
yeah,
well, lots of laws aren't ethical, Bob.
Lawmakers.
that's probably true.
One thing you have to recognize, remember, you know, the higher your tax rate, the higher your circuit breaker, the less money you're gonna collect. You know, in 2012, when our dollars were down that we were taxing, our circuit breaker was substantially lower than the 855,000 it is for 2014. Substantially lower. So, you know, when your budget's lower, you're collecting more of your dollars because you're not hitting that threshold for the circuit breaker. So you can more reasonably stay within your budget. What you do when you budget high and you don't collect it and you spend it, then you're eating away at your cash balance.
And I think last year, the main thing that ate away at our cash balance was our big contribution to the for the power plant, right? $1.5 million. I think if it wasn't for that, we were.
Now, this is general fund, Bob. That's totally different. General fund stands all by itself, and so
That didn't come out of the general fund? Oh, it came
No,
out
it
of
did not.
CEDA, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It just stands, general fund stands totally on its own. General fund is our day-to-day operating budget.
So Chuck, I actually, you know, I think we agree on this overall, that I want to make our taxes as low as we can for the taxpayer. I think that we just maybe see it a little different on how we do that. I saw it the same way you saw it, I think, a few years ago, and really it is Reedy Financial's, all of this, the advice and all the figures that they crunch is what's come up with this, hopefully a better way of
Right, but this is
returning money
Reedy
to tax-
Financial that got in trouble in multiple counties for over budgeting and running counties into negative spending. So I don't have a lot of faith in them based
I
on,
don't know
based,
anything about that.
well, go research Morgan Township and Madison Township and their interaction with Reedy, and I don't have a lot of faith in them based on what the audit from State Board of Accounts says that they have done wrong, so.
Send me that link.
Okay.
One other item that's in the IT budget that I had a question, what is BIS digital cameras?
That's, so you have cameras in here today, there's only 2,
Yeah.
and there's been conversation of putting 2 more to get more coverage. Now, and the way, do you see how it gets posted on Facebook where you have 4 squares, but only 2 of them are populated?
Mm-hmm.
That'll fill in those other 2.
I think don't we need to replace all of them probably, as far as the resolution on these cameras? It's not very good, is it?
No, honestly, these are analog cameras that they put in
And they're not
2
that
years ago.
expensive
Not too bad.
for a camera. I mean, I don't know.
I just wondered what it was. I'm
Yeah.
not questioning the
Yeah.
expense, I just wondered what it was.
No, I'm not
That's
questioning
just
you
the
at
other
all.
2, the other 2 squares in that 4 square.
But when you brought up the cameras, I'd just like to say, yeah, I think we need to replace all of them, so you have.
It is, and some of it's their format, and I don't know how adjustable that really is, because the way they shove those 4 in that.
Then we also. Not you worse.
We'll put
And
HD
also,
camera.
we tend to have a problem up here. Do we know why we have this problem sometimes with this thing? Do you take care of this part?
I don't know what problem you're having, so yeah, we can.
Sometimes it doesn't log on. We had a meeting a while back where you couldn't get video. So I'd like for that to get fixed.
That happens from time to time.
I don't know if it's,
Hiccups once in a while.
if
Yeah.
it's the computer, if it's
Well,
our
we can work with
technology.
BIS Digital, because some of that is what they put in, as far as the no video part, but we can work with them and get that resolved.
I'm good with getting this place upgraded.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Well, and I would just say too, and I had some conversations with some of you, I don't know if some of that Mondo Pad money would be useful, as we run around printing things tonight. I'm a technology guy, so
Exactly.
you can shoot me if you want, but I feel like you guys should have some tablets or laptops
Yeah.
or something, whether it's provided by the city or not, kind of your guys' call, but
Five of us do, so.
Could sure do this a
Your
little more.
point's a great point right there, that if we had Mondo here, Ted wouldn't have
It wouldn't
done
feel
that.
right.
We could have it up on the screen
Right.
and we'd have something to see. Yeah.
Well, even if you had your individual tablets too, that you'd already had that data in your
Yeah.
email or whatever.
Yeah, and I emailed it again, so everybody does have it electronically, including the media.
So as you
Right.
think about taking that money all completely out, I just wanted to throw that out there, that there might be a better way to repurpose it too, so. Now, I know you don't want to spend money on yourself. I'm just, as a technology guy, throwing it out there.
Well, my view of this is it's not just for council. It's not a big perk for us. It's a lot
efficiency.
for the audience, so that they'll be able to see what we're doing easier. As we just had a meeting over, we are in the meeting at LMU boardroom. You can barely see the screen over here. This screen here, as I mentioned earlier, I have a new laptop on the way. Well, it doesn't have a serial port on it. That's the only way we plug into this with the old projector we have. So I wouldn't be able to use my new laptop on this old technology that we have. So we definitely need to upgrade it. I want to make it so the people, I think we're still talking about have a couple screens up here so the audience will be able to see easier what we do. And I'd like to get a printer in here to where if we do need something printed, Carol Sue can send it to a printer while she's sitting up there. So, we don't have to print all this extra paperwork. The idea is to try to eventually get us off of some of this paperwork, and I believe if we can do that, and I think we can pretty quickly. There's a couple guys like Charlie, he's going to need to get a laptop, and I don't think that should have to be his expense. I just spent about $2,000 on mine getting this stuff, but if he has it, everybody has it. Carol Sue can send this to us electronically, and we don't have to print all this stuff.
Exactly.
So Carol Sue's office spends a good part of a day, several of them, to print up some of these things. I know I've been up there before.
Yeah, it's a lot to copy, but
Putting the packet together.
And that's before Jim Bruce serves us with paperwork,
Yeah.
requesting information.
Is there any way we could change the Mondo pad or do something with it, if with the mayor's permission, like to have like 10 to 12,000 for laptops for us?
I'm okay with that. This is council's.
I will just, this is just my own personal opinion. I have enough devices as it is. I don't want another one. If I can have it electronically, I have a Surface, I have a laptop, I have an iPhone. That's plenty for me.
What if
No,
we,
I don't want anything else.
What
I've
if
got my
we-
own,
to make it fair, because some people don't have them, some do, why don't we just put a stipend type of deal or something in for council, say $1,000? You can go buy, Charlie can use that $1,000 to go buy his. I can put the $1,000 on the one I just ordered. Joe can get him,
I would say this, I would rather do this than that. If you want to budget enough to buy 3 devices, and then if there's a member of the council that doesn't have a device, that's fine. But, I kind of take issue with paying somebody to go buy a device that then at the end of the term, whose device is it?
right. Yeah.
well, that's true. It's just
There's
like
a problem with that.
last year, or whenever it was, we didn't take our stipend, but we had the $1,000 one, so I don't see that it's too much different than that, but.
I think we might need a little more than 3. The reason is, what happens if you forget all your devices? You could grab one of these and put on your desk. The mayor and the city lawyer would need something if they didn't bring it in. So 3 might be a little bit, maybe.
Are you just talking about having them here available?
Yeah.
Who's going to load them up?
Who's going to what?
Who's going to load them up?
Load them up.
Put the
Phil would take care of whatever.
The ordinances on them, she's saying.
No, who would put
You
the
could
packets
connect
on
to
there?
SharePoint, right, and get your stuff off of there, or
We
email.
could set up city email accounts with, you could go to OWA, the Outlook Web Access, and access them.
That's why I don't think it makes sense to purchase us laptops just for this particular thing. It wouldn't really serve my purposes, I know. That's why I think that if you just get a certain amount that you can spend on getting a laptop, and then you keep it up, you're responsible for it. And you leave, you take it with you.
No, we do.
That might not be a good idea right here at the at the end of the election cycle maybe, but,
Yeah, that might be something to consider
Yeah.
next year.
yeah, and I'm fine with, I've got my own,
Next year.
but I'm thinking of, these guys, it's not, I don't know that it's right to expect Charlie to go out and spend $1,000 on a laptop.
No, I think we're at the point in the world that you need to have the technology for the job. I mean, I didn't have a tablet prior to doing this, but I knew it would be handy for this, so I bought it, a part of the gig. I get paid a decent amount of money to do this job, so I spend some of it to be prepared for it. I don't think we need to allocate any more.
I'm not.
I know.
I'm not.
I know.
I have a laptop, I have a computer. My wife has them, I can't use them.
I know.
Okay?
It'd be a waste of money for you anyway, Charlie. The learning curve
I'm good.
with
If you
you.
guys don't want me to have one, I have no problem with that.
Come on, take it easy on
Not a
Charlie,
problem.
jeez.
It's not a secret,
Don't
Gary.
bother me. I can read papers.
1, 2, 7, that'd be $7,000. And we're arguing about that, but then we just spend $10,000 on desks. And that wasn't a problem at all. So, I mean,
That becomes salary. If you make it a stipend, it becomes salary.
yeah, it's true. Taxable.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to say that 20,000 of the Mondo Pad, did include some of those TV and things, which we haven't finalized.
Yeah. I suggest we hold off for a year and see
Okay.
what the advantages of the Mondo Pad are and how if it,
We're gonna have to work our way into this anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we gotta throw it out there, but I don't want
So
not to be able to get
I
onto it.
think
Just-
we'll
You might be okay with
realize-
appropriating money if we need to next
Yeah.
year then?
For now, let's just leave it in there and see if we need it. If we don't need it, that's not a problem.
Is that, which one, the Mondo Pad?
Yeah.
Well, we know that we've already done that one, right?
Yeah, I'm all for striking that because we spent that money.
Yeah, I'm for striking it also. We've purchased it already.
And what's the office equipment for?
That basically, so what we try to do is have a rotation of computers throughout the city for 3 to 4 years otherwise, because what happened, I think, when Rowan first started in this process here is there's some pretty old computers out there, and then they don't get updated, and, departments don't want to use their budget, which I totally understand.
So
This
this
kind of
is-
helps keep that rotation, so.
This is for computer and equipment like that for the different places around the city building.
Rotating it around, I would support that. I know what happens when you
But
let
then-
it.
If you get it behind,
We
it
also
just-
have every department has, a lot of them have or budgeted amounts for office equipment, computer
I'm gonna
equipment.
get some cups. They told him to bring some cold.
So we are kind of doubling up on that.
I don't know.
I'm not,
I don't know what those are.
35,000's a lot, but I'm not real.
I just
Especially
know
when we can't afford $7,000 for laptops. so.
In the 5 years I've been here, it just seems like, the IT department usually tries to pick up where, someone else can't or won't.
Bob, why don't you and I split a Chromebook and we'll give it to him and let him see if he can figure it out, just out of our pocket. Charlie can figure out a Chromebook and we'll move, that's what, $279?
I was gonna say, it's less than $300.
Yeah, it'd be $140 a piece. We could get him electronic.
You're gonna give them training for that too, right?
Well, I know how to use computers, I just can't,
Well, Chromebook's a little bit different.
well,
They're trying to throw you a curveball, Charlie.
Are you past IT? It's 6 o'clock. The food's going to be here a little after 6.
Okay, Teresa, Madam Chair.
So
is that 20 out
I
already?
guess we have a discrepancy on the $20,000.
Well, the 13 has been spent, so.
That's already appropriated, so that's not even on the
Did
table
we
right
get
now.
the first and second reading on that appropriation, or did we do that as a resolution?
Resolution.
Okay,
It's
so
done.
that's done, all right.
It's done.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm going to propose we take the $20,000 out. Now, how many agree with that?
We talked
I don't.
about moving it to the,
Taking it out of the IT budget.
but we're
I
gonna move
agree.
it to
In the
the rainy
council's
day
budget.
fund? Is that gonna go to the rainy day fund?
Well, I'm just talking about taking it out of the IT
Well,
budget.
And we talked about moving to the rainy day fund, are we gonna
Yeah,
talk
it would
about the rainy
eventually.
day fund?
You would have the ability to redirect it someplace. You just can't increase
Right.
above what we advertise, but you can shift money around with
How
the...
about if we move it to the council, and then council's budget, and then if there needs something for this room, you have it there. What about that?
That's fine, we're just talking about IT right now.
Well, if we
We're
take
taking
it
it
out.
out of here.
Yeah, we would say we'd move it some.
Okay, we'll keep a running tab up here, so we're going to
I
strike
got it.
20,000 from the IT budget, and then we'll decide later if we're going to put it someplace else.
3,000.
I'm sorry, how much?
20.
We're going to take 20,000 out for the Mondo pad and move it possibly to rainy day or council. And then rowing's managed services are going down
10,000.
10,000. And so
Yeah.
that will change the total budget for IT to $174,820.
Okay.
Give it to me again.
174,820.
174,820.
And you missed planning commission reduced 75,000 because there was
She had it in there
contracted
twice.
services in there twice.
Right.
It's down to 137,132.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
And rowing's there, that was down how much?
It's down,
Yeah.
rowing's
10,000.
down $30,000 is what it is.
So we're keeping a running
10,000 for
total.
managed service.
Okay, that's what I was looking. So it's 43.6 now.
Right.
Okay.
43.6 for managed services, and the Mondo pad is out of IT at this time.
Okay,
Okay?
I'm good.
Okay, Dan? You're up.
You awake? Oh, you need some help?
Bill, thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Poor guy, we're working him to death.
Thanks for
Good.
fixing the alley.
You're welcome, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Dan.
Sorry I won't be here for your carry-in meal, hopefully. If I am, we're really off budget.
What page is he on?
Let's, cemetery, is that okay if we go there first? Page
That
13?
sounds fun with me. Yep.
Page 13.
Obviously gasoline goes up.
Wow,
We had
does
to
it ever.
appropriate some for that, so makes sense there.
Especially when you have bad weather.
Yeah.
Had a bad winter.
What falls under general repair, under the cemetery budget? What kind of things?
It can be anything from fixing a lawnmower to a weed eater to a pickup truck, any kind of repair to the building. Sometimes we go ahead and pour concrete ourselves when time permits, repair headstones.
Dan,
Why that?
how many clutches did you put in your weed whackers
Well,
this year?
truthfully, about 12 to 13. But some of that is
Why
self-inflicted.
that doesn't show anything here.
Because there wasn't appropriation.
Yeah, mine are self-inflicted
He
too.
doesn't have any money budgeted for general repair.
On 14?
Yep.
Are you on page 13?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, 13 is general repair.
And then, can you tell me what you would purchase under miscellaneous supplies?
Anything that isn't by
It's all right.
Didn't ask you.
I don't mean to be so fast, but, you know.
I like
Thank
his
you,
an-
Mr. Obvious.
I like his answer. Anything that doesn't include anything above that. And there are things that do come up.
Of these telephones get me, how much we're spending on telephones. And of course, in the cemetery, it went up 25%. I'm not saying anything against that or any of them, but I just noticed in these budgets that, man, we're spending a fortune on telephones.
It's amazing. Every year I look at it and I think,
He's
holy
on
crap.
page 14.
I mean, I think
Residents using them a lot, or
At $100 for everything plan, I think you can buy a lot of phones for those.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's something we all need to take, we have taken a look at, it seems like, but
Yeah, it's,
Well, they switched to Comcast, right? Everything switched to Comcast.
no, I don't think everything did. We switched everything we could and reduced it by about 40% when we switched, but like, for example, the golf course does not have Comcast. It won't reach that far. They don't have the wire ran that far. And there was a couple others, similar situations where there's just nothing there, so they have a cell phone instead of a landline.
And so are all these telephones hooked together is why this is so expensive, or, I mean, because you just can't imagine that.
Business telephones are extremely expensive, Bob. It's not like your home phone.
Yeah, there's,
Well, why aren't they? That's why I'm asking.
you pay a premium because they cost more.
At the cemetery, we will get,
Just because, yeah.
Mr. Bishop, at the cemetery, we will get probably during the week 10 to 15 calls from people doing genealogy studies. And sometimes we're out in the field working, have to call them back, and it gets into where, they're giving us a whole list of names, and then we will call them back and give them that information. So it does get costly.
You mean long distance?
Yes.
Well, see, even long distance doesn't cost anything. That's $208 a month for that phone.
That's not unusual.
Yeah.
That's not unusual.
And,
That
and
is not
Bob,
out of line, Bob.
it's
I'm
like
sorry.
there are different levels for electricity. Our industrial customers have a lower rate than the residential customers. This is one of those cases where a business pays more than a residential in telephones.
reckon.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
From $40 up to $200, somebody's getting a hose in here.
Hey, we could shut it off and get 10 cans in a string.
Yeah,
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. I think something's out of line here. It has been, so.
Well, give me an idea of what you want done.
And it's not you. It's
Okay.
We
all
want you
the
to take
whole
care of
city.
Comcast and make it more affordable for all of the business people, Dan.
I would rather take care of the gasoline companies.
Well, there's no doubt that there's nobody farther out of line in prices than Comcast and everything, so nothing unusual there. I was just wondering.
The backhoe that you have budgeted in here, I don't buy backhoes very often, so I'm assuming that 60,000 is about half of the cost of one. Would that be right?
We're talking with a trade-in, would be worth that much money.
So
Yeah.
you would purchase one this year?
Or that's what's budgeted. And then there was talk that we would take the one that we have currently and transfer it over to the Parks Department.
We talked about that in the capital improvement plan with the planning department. The cemetery backhoe is better than the backhoe that the Parks Department currently has, so we would take the Parks Department backhoe, give it to cemetery, that would be their trade-in on the new one. Parks would get the one that's roughly 10 years old, 12 years old, and they would be getting rid of the one that's about 20 years old. That was the plan, that was what was approved in the capital improvement plan.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Works for
I'm
me.
just-
Yeah, and you're right, though, Teresa, $60,000 won't touch a new backhoe.
I didn't think so.
They're far more,
But ours, it would be worth the difference if we were to trade it in.
How old is the one you have?
About probably 8 years.
yeah,
And of course, it's more hours, I know, of use.
Yes, but
than-
it's actually a bigger, heavier duty model than the one the parks have. And I believe our guys probably do maintenance on it better than they do.
yeah. And
Unfortunately, that's a piece of equipment that you can't go without at your place.
It's a cemetery. We do have shovels, but
That'd take a while.
And we did do that the last time, too. Cemetery's backhoe transferred to Parks. It stays up at the golf course. And then the golf course, they had an old Ford that didn't even have a cab on it. They traded that one in for the one that you have now. So they always pass down the cemetery to the Parks. The Parks passes it back when it's time to trade in.
And along that same line, Jeremy, if something happens at the golf course or the parks and we're not digging, then we go out of our hands to work together with other departments.
I don't have a problem with it at all. I'm not getting at that. I was just curious.
Mowers, how many mowers are you proposing with this budget? $15,750?
We went on a thing here where we get 2 new ones every year, trade them in. It saves us on maintenance almost probably 70-80%. Those mowers,
How many do you have total?
6.
That's not counting the push mowers or.
We have 2 of those.
2 of those.
Yeah.
You gotta have those, because
Yes. Yeah.
you have to.
Trim work.
So those are, what, you're talking $7,000 a piece or so?
No, they're more than 15
$750
apiece.
for 2, so.
That's trade-in.
If
They
you-
get trade-ins on them.
If you.
I think they're around $11,000 a piece was the last time I think we had this conversation.
Yeah.
So do you have that in the CIP program at 2 a year?
Yes.
Great. That's great.
Is it cold up your place?
Cold.
Yeah. I noticed you've got a new furnace and air conditioner in
That
there.
furnace has been there since, well, cemeteries are not meant to be warm. I wish I could say that, but please don't put that in the paper. That has, the furnace and the air conditioner, the best that I can find out. It's a combination unit, and it has been there since probably 85 or 86. Things go wrong with it, just like your house, and we get bills that constantly come in, and so.
Are you gonna replace the windows, and that was a big problem?
That is currently, in fact, it was put in this year's budget, and they're showing up Wednesday. They're
Okay.
going to start in February in some way or another. Now it's August, and they're just going to start this week,
All right.
this Wednesday, yes.
No, good.
And that'll help tremendously,
Right.
because this year with the weather the way it was, we had snow and ice coming in the
Mhm.
windows. So-
I remember, I went up and looked after we had that conversation last year, and it was ridiculous. That's good.
Yeah, if that's been there unit's been there for 20 years, it's not very efficient either.
And with
A new unit
sa-
will be much
The same
more
person
efficient.
that's putting the windows in, our soffit is falling down. That's been there since 1975 without anything done to it. So
Yeah.
that the money that you appropriated is going into those 2 things.
I don't
Does
see
anybody
anything.
have any other questions for the cemetery section of Dan's budget?
No, but I will say, burying a couple more relatives this year, that you can't underestimate the importance of quality staff in a nice cemetery, and they've done a very good job up there. I mean, they really, your staff is to be commended for it, because that's a big thing for people, and
Yeah.
I wish I could take the kudos for that, but we do have a very good staff that's loyal, that pulls together, and, they represent the city very well.
yeah, they do.
And this week, while we're on that, I got a resignation from Bob Bernhardt, which has been there 26 years.
Wow.
He's retiring,
It's,
isn't he?
it's got, this perf thing is really throwing
Yeah.
a ball in everybody.
Yeah.
And he's going to be very, very hard to replace. He is so good with the people. I was in business for myself 35 years, and I've learned a ton in the 2.5 years I've spent with Bob Bernhardt. He's a quality guy.
He's a little young to be retiring, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's going to cost him the more he works.
Might be a
It's
good
all-
article for the paper to write on why because people are gonna wonder why everybody's jumping ship all of a sudden.
I hope they understand how that works.
They do. They have spent numerous
Okay,
hours,
because-
and Susan Marks is very good with,
Because if they're
in fact, she's too
rolling
good.
over their annuity
And she's
portion,
leaving
it's
too,
not
though,
gonna-
And she's,
Okay, let's move on to
Thank you.
MVH, which would be page 18.
okay.
Page what?
18.
18.
I just have one question for you, Dan.
Okay.
How many employees do you have under this budget?
We have 10 full-time CDL drivers and a foreman and myself and a secretary. So that would be 13 total.
Got anything?
Can I ask a dumb, oh, go ahead.
No question is dumb and for me.
No, I didn't have any.
What is bituminal, I can't even pronounce it.
That's asphalt.
Bituminous.
Asphalt, the stuff.
The stuff you put in my alley, you need some more now?
Teresa got part of it.
Okay.
We don't have hers done yet.
So Mitchell, don't put it in the paper, it's
Yeah.
gonna cost.
Oh, by, woo.
Well, I'll tell you what,
They were terrible
my
alleys.
alley was like this. You could not drive
Yeah,
through.
you're exactly right. But we put as much down as we could without having Central Paving come in and do that.
I
And we're
know.
gonna be back this week putting another layer down.
I never say anything, but boy,
The
it
winter
got to the
played
point nobody
havoc.
could drive
The
through.
winter really played havoc on the alleys,
Yeah.
and that's why we don't usually plow them. This year we had to. People just could not get out.
Mosquito control, we only had to spend $100 on it last year, so.
Yeah, this year's gonna change. We've got some complaints coming in, and we've started using.
You know, I didn't see a lot of mosquitoes last year, though. Saved us some money.
We've been out about 10 times, almost have the whole city completely done once. We have 2 guys that are certified. They have to go to school, and, you know, they just can't go down with a spray bottle. They have to be certified to apply that.
I remember I used to ride my bicycles behind that.
We all did.
That didn't do
Well,
nothing to me.
That's what did it.
Sort of left yourself open.
That was Councilman Bob Bishop saying that. Please write that down.
I used to run. I used to run.
I used to do it too.
Everybody did
Bob, is that what purple haze is?
Yes, sir.
That stuff
We
isn't
didn't
good
need all
for you?
this new stuff back then.
That isn't good for you?
That's dear. I hope they're not recording
I
this.
didn't know that.
We're definitely getting up to catch the 7 a.m. news in the morning.
I see you've got wood chipper in the budget here.
Mhm.
Is that what we're looking at?
Yes, we are looking at a wood
Tub
chipper.
grinder.
The
Yeah,
tub grinder?
different thing, tub grinder, wood chipper.
Completely different. A wood chipper will be pulled behind a truck,
Oh.
go through every street, every alley. I think it'll save us probably from what we're spending now physically, man to man, 3 trucks hauling one little load out. Probably save us about 30 to 40%. That's gasoline, manpower, and the pickup trucks.
It's a smaller version, Teresa, that's portable.
What we do now, Teresa, is we hand pick up everything, put it in the back of a trailer, haul it to the composting site and grind it up there. What we're proposing to do with a wood chipper is to put it behind a truck, come to your house, chip it up right there, haul it down to the street department, put it in a bin, and mix it with the mulch. And that saves all that, probably 40 to 50 trips to the composting site.
It'd be easier on them stacking it on a trailer, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then those chips we will give back as a form of mulch to the citizens. Which last year I think we gave back like 80 tons, which is a considerable amount.
This natural gas generator, that's for your,
Okay, that's.
so in case when power goes out, you
One
guys-
has never been, the one we have now does not work. It hasn't worked in like 8 years, and it is set in the case, you know, all the electricity is down, we can still operate.
1988,
1988.
yep.
hooks up to natural gas so you can run it indefinitely. So if we have a storm, that's to keep your,
Right.
what, that street department building down there going?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I notice you have a street sweeper on here, a new street sweeper. How
Our street sweeper is 12 years old, expected life on one is 8 years.
You got two, right?
No, we do have two, one's broke down, it's gonna cost like, the hydraulics are completely out of it, and it's 28 years old.
Oh,
We used to
geez.
have
Can
two.
you trade it in?
The motor's worth about $4,000 is what they tell us.
To get rid of the oldest one?
Yes.
Is that what you're gonna do?
We will do that and probably more. We're gonna try to keep the one as a backup.
The one you have now?
Yes.
There are times we could get two out. I know they got way behind this year, and
Yes, we did.
and the East End looked horrid until they got up there last week.
And I agree, and I take full responsibility for that. My only defense is we put a ton of sand down this
Yeah.
year.
Right.
No
I
doubt.
thought it was
Yeah.
more important to keep the streets open, keep the people happy, and I'll take the criticism for the sand on the street anytime that we have a winter like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad you
it-
can't recollect it and reuse it.
Oh, I heard a lot of compliments
true.
on that, actually.
Yeah.
And then also the fire department was out there spraying down with
Right.
their hoses, which
Yep.
helped a lot.
Washed down the east end sidewalks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got a lot of
sand.
compliments from that.
Yep. I don't think that I have asked the fire department to do hardly any help at all that they haven't been 100% behind. They've helped board up houses. They board up a lot of houses too.
You have a $24,000 pickup truck in here. Do you have any of that on CIP that you can have a rotation on or in your truck?
That has already been purchased. If you'll look, we saved, let's see, what sheet are you on, Bob?
That's page 19.
You didn't already purchase that pickup truck, Dan. This is for 2015. You have a pickup to replace one.
There's nothing in the budget for 15.
Right.
For a pickup.
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I was
Okay.
looking at
14s.
14s.
And it was budgeted 30,000 and we spent 23 and got a brand new truck.
Wow, that's a good deal.
Do you have any of that kind of equipment you have on the CIP rotation, like your mowers?
We sure do.
Yeah.
Yep. Trucks are one of them,
Okay, good.
like the big dump truck.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Does anyone have any other questions for Dan on the motor vehicle budget? Okay.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Dan.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank all your people for doing a wonderful
Yes.
job.
Does anybody want a break now? The
Since the
pizza's,
mayor's next, we'll take a break.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a
I'm gonna-
full stomach.
I'm going to feed you and get you sleepy.